You're now Southern Valley. I'm John Fredericks, and I am your blowtorch of free speech in America, your oracle of the deplorables. Good to be with you. As always, coming live in Washington, D.C. Yay, the most safest, most beautiful city in the history of America, right here. We have no crime, and I'm going to keep it that way. Candidate, Ward 2 Chairman, GOP, put my logo up. We got Todd Sheets coming up, because Todd's going to be so excited to donate to my campaign. I just want to get him fired up because, Todd, the best news about donating to my campaign here is there's a $200 per person limit. So I can't ask you for over that. Imagine how great that is. All you got to do is go to makedcgreat.com, makedcgreat.com. We've got an event coming up. We got to get a mailer out, got to get on the ballot, got to get ballot access. They make it tough in D.C., but we're going to do it. Well, we need your help. Just go to makedcgreat.com. Go to the donate page. You can donate by check. It's right there, or by credit card. And we would appreciate your help. $200 maximum donation for this race in D.C. per person, 400 a couple. So, but anything helps. And we really appreciate your help. And thank you. This message paid for by Fredericks for Chairman. Joining me now, Todd Sheets. Todd, hi.
Todd, how are you this morning?
Never better. I'm going to probably shake you down for a donation later. It's kind of, what I do. Hey, listen, oil prices have gone up, but there's no evidence of barrels going up. And I mean, are we getting gouged here or what?
Yeah, I don't think we're getting gouged. I mean, this is the market trying to figure out what's going to happen and anticipating that, we're going to see some shortages for a period of time, prices spike. But assuming that things go well here, these things the oil prices will settle back down to where they were, and we'll be back in good shape. Interestingly, that has not rolled over and affected the stock market in a big way, the bond market, those kinds of things. So,
okay, first time you've been on since Saturday's bombing, and taken out now 50. I think they're up to 52. Iranian leaders, including the whacked Ayatollah. What are your thoughts on this whole thing, Todd?
Yeah, I think what's going on here is Trump sees a historic opportunity to continue on what he has been creating since his first administration with the Abraham Accords and with the sanctions and with pulling ourselves out of the disastrous agreement from the Obama administration. And what's been happening since then is we've been moving in a direction where a large portion of the Middle East wants to join the Abraham Accords, align themselves with Israel and America, try and diversify their economies, create a safer region. And the biggest impediment to that by far has been Iran and its proxies. And they were behind what happened on October 7th. That, in my mind, was done to prevent Saudi Arabia from joining the Abraham Accords. They knew if Israel struck back as hard as they were going to have to, that would create kind of a roadblock for everybody else in the region from joining in. But now, with the 12-day war, with Operation Midnight Hammer from last summer, they are so weakened. And I think at the time last summer, Trump probably was not quite ready to take this to the level that they're taking it to now. But what's happened since then is we've seen the regime stay, in its hostile reactionary mode, refusing to back down. We've seen the success in Venezuela, which have, I think, probably emboldened the president and the administration about the potential for huge reforms and changes like this. And then we saw, the street protests and the wipeout of 30,000 people. And I think they're sitting there and saying, this is the time to go in here and completely militarily disable this hostile regime. And if we do that, even if we don't get the turnover that we would like at the top, whoever is left in charge is sitting there with nothing. And that can't last forever. So if that happens, we slap the sanctions back on, and they're economically distressed. They have no military firepower. And if, maybe 6 months down the road, we come back in with the next wave, and eventually this thing is going to crack and something will change. And I think that's what's going on there.
brilliant. Are you going to put that in I agree 100%. That's what I said in almost my narrative at 6 o'clock. It's like we talked ahead of time. Are you going to put that in a Substack article?
Yeah, this is going to be my Substack.
You got to do that. That is, I agree with you 100%. Like, I hope there's regime change, but at the end of the day, who cares, right? I mean, good for the Iranian people, but it's up to them. But once we cut their oil off, blockade that, they can't sell it. They have no money. We're going to sink their navy. Trump has said that. What is it? Hegseth said we're going to sink every last boat they have, including the rowboats. Oh, there's no navy. They have no more missiles. We're taking all those out. The next guy that gets in charge, he's dead. So there'll be no commanders. They have nothing. And then eventually they have no money. And then eventually there's going to be an uprising, and they're going to have to figure this out. I agree with that 100%. I mean, we're going to render Iran irrelevant and inconsequential. Isn't that your overall position here?
Absolutely. And it may happen right now, and it may be that we just take another giant step right now, and then the final fall happens in 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. Maybe there's 2 or 3 more campaigns over time, but at some point they have to crack. They have no economic resources. Their military has been completely disabled. They can't fund the terrorist proxies and rebuild the military at the same time. So one way or another, and the other thing that's happening here, and we're seeing signs of this already, is as they are being militarily diminished and seen as less of a threat to the other Arab countries have to be looking at this and saying, if I'm going to be on anybody's side, I want to be on the side of the United States and Israel. This is the powerful force that is capable of making change and enforcing, what we want to have happen going forward. It just starts to become like, there's this dynamic where there's no choice but to join for the other Gulf countries. And in Iran, there's no direction but downward. And look, the IRGC is going to hang on. We're obviously seeing that as long as they can. But at some point, it just collapses. And we don't know when, but I think it's coming. I think this is potentially so big, and the potential benefits for America. I was listening to your guests earlier, and I very much understand. We've been through so many of these forever wars, failed regime changes, losses of American lives. We're so chastised about taking any action that what's happened is we've allowed the world to become a much more dangerous place over the last 20 to 30 years because of those failures. And somebody needed to change that dynamic. And Trump finally had the guts to step in here with these military actions, starting with Midnight Hammer, then Venezuela, and now this, to try and turn the globe back in the direction of America, freedom, safety, security, growth, and prosperity. And I think that's what's going on here. So I think I'd really encourage your listeners to keep that in mind. There is a bigger picture here than just what is happening on the ground right now.
What about the oil, Todd?
Well, look, this is big long-term for oil also. I mean, if so much of that Iranian oil, 80 to 90% of it is getting sold to China at highly subsidized and reduced rates because it's sanctioned oil and that kind of thing. So ultimately, we end up with better, more efficient oil markets, less of it flowing at discounted prices to our other hostile regimes that we're dealing with, primarily China. And, this is a big win long term. We may have to go through a period of time here where this is going to be difficult, but the upside is just too huge to ignore here.
I'm going to have to jot that down. I got to give this this segment the right title. I might collaborate with you on it because it's that good. It's your best segment ever, and I agree with everything you said. You're absolutely spot on, and very articulate, also, and passionate about it, which is a very powerful combo. Todd, let's get to the Straits of Hormuz. That's getting closed. Why don't we just send our ships in there and take the damn thing over and open it?
Yeah, well, I don't know the answer to that for sure, but we do have to recognize, there are some limits to militarily what we can have going on at the same time here. And so I think we've just got to trust Trump, Hegseth, Kane, and those guys to balance all of these different military objectives and do the right thing. And you know what? By this point, they have earned our trust in a very short period of time here. Maybe we could go back to the first administration and taking out Soleimani and changing the dynamics there with the getting rid of the Obama agreement and all those kinds of things. But over a series of time, they are winning back the trust of America in the use of military to make the world a better place, which we have not had since the end of World War II. Beginning in the 60s with the Vietnam War, that trust started to dissipate. Up until that time, we had so much confidence. We were coming off a 100-year period of time that included the Civil War, World War I, and World War II. Three of the greatest conflicts in the history of the world. We were on the winning side in each place, and we thought we were infallible. And then for the last 60 years, it's gone in the opposite direction. But I think we're seeing us turn that corner again.
Todd, I agree with everything you said. Just great analysis, spot on. Todd, people want to follow you on Substack, and I can't wait for your article to come out. Where do they go?
Yeah, just go to Substack and search Todd Sheets on Wealth and Progress, or you can go to the different podcast services. I do a weekly podcast after I write the Substack piece, which is basically an audio version of that. So same thing, Todd Sheets on Wealth and Progress.
And guess what? It's free. For now.
Cheaper than a barrel of oil right now.
That's right, Todd. His Substack's free. My Substack's free. That's why we get along so good. You got to get the message out. We can always figure out how to make money, but you got to get it out. You got to give people an opportunity to engage in what we're doing. Todd, that was a great segment. I can't wait to read your Substack. And thank you for your time today, Todd.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
All right, spot on. Grover Norquist is next. Keep it right here.